Hello, my friends, and I hope you are having a fantastic day. Well, we've got more Wizards of the Coast news. I know that the former president stepped down a little bit ago, and I was kind of just hanging around waiting until they announced who the current president would be before saying, ha ha ha, it's really not going to get better. Because it's really not going to get better. They're just going to keep going down the path they're going. And while I know nobody here is surprised about that, and I'm sure I'll get plenty of comments about, well, why are you still whining about it and whatever. Well, I'm whining about it because I damn well want it. This is how I vent. This is how I get these thoughts out, as opposed to pushing them down into that deep, dark hole that used to be a heart. New Wizard of the Coast president is a former senior Blizzard executive. Because yes, just what we need in D&D is more video gameizing. It needs to be more like video games than ever before. Sure. Cool. Whatever. John Hight, former Warcraft general manager, now heads Wizard of the Coast, focusing on Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering. Hight brings his game dev experience and passion as a fan to lead Hasbro's gaming studios in digital licensing agreements, which is where D&D is headed. Yay. Hight's arrival at Wizards of the Coast may bring significant changes following a history of controversies at the company. Former Senior Vice President and General Manager of the Warcraft franchise, John Hight, is now the President of Wizards of the Coast. This video game industry titan will now join the executive team of Wizards of the Coast, where he will help Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering and oversee the video gaming initiatives of Hasbro as a whole. Well, at least they're really out about it. Recently, Hight announced his departure from Blizzard after an illustrious 12-year career. During his time, Hight worked on nearly half a dozen World of Warcraft expansions, Diablo III Reaper of Souls, and oversaw development of both Hearthstone and Warcraft Rumble. He was known for his optimism and even temper, and was one of the more outspoken voices when it came to rebuilding Blizzard's reputation after multiple controversies and unpopular design decisions. Now Hight is beginning a new adventure with another major entertainment company. As reported by Business Wire, Hasbro recently announced Hight has joined its executive team as the president of both Wizards of the Coast and the company's digital gaming branch. In his new position, Hight will take charge of Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering, with a focus on finding new storytelling, tabletop, and digital experiences. He will also oversee all of Hasbro's gaming studios and digital licensing agreements, marking his arrival as a significant step in Hasbro's strategic focus on digital experiences and video games. Why can't somebody who just cares about tabletop take D&D and just do that, as opposed to it being part of this really large corporation who really doesn't care and just wants to turn it into a microtransaction mess? Is there good reason for that? Anyway, sorry. John Hight. I feel like I've rolled a 20 with this one. I'm thrilled to share I'll be joining Hasbro as president of Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming, overseeing strategy for Magic the Gathering, D&D, and digital games. I've been a loyal partner and fan for a long time. I'm going to say I find it hilarious that the guy who wanted the white guys to leave the hobby left, but they brought in another white guy. That is amusing to me. I am easily amused, what can I say? Before coming to Blizzard, Hight was a board member of the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, taught game development courses at the USC School of Cinematics, and even helped develop AAA games like Neverwinter Nights, God of War 3, and Command & Conquer. He is also a known fan of both Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering, making him a natural fit for this position. I don't trust him. There's no denying Hight's arrival at Wizards of the Coast will likely herald some big changes at the company, especially in the video game world. Yay. It will not be surprising if Hight uses his game dev experience to follow up on the massive success of Baldur's Gate 3 with new digital initiatives for Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering. Wizards of the Coast itself has been floundering in recent years after a string of its own controversies, layoffs, rising prices for smaller products, and the use of Pinkertons against one of its fans. The open game license fiasco and multiple incidents with AR art have earned Wizards of the Coast a great deal of negative publicity lately. Hopefully Hight, who helped Blizzard's correct course through its own storm, can help Wizards of the Coast do the same. I can't say that I considered Blizzard's current reputation to be particularly rehabilitated. I feel that nobody has a positive outlook about Blizzard right now. So I'm not sure what they're talking about. Maybe I'm just being mean. But as I said, this is just the continuing gamatization. Well, gamatization's the wrong word, because let's face it, Dungeons and Dragons is a game. This is the further, you can't use monetization. It's the further video gamifying of Dungeons and Dragons. They're going to start focusing less on the books and those experiences, focusing more on the video games, since those are easier to make money off of, and they've got a lot of goodwill banked right now with Baldur's Gate 3. But with Larian Studios not coming back for that, I don't see it going well. Neverwinter Nights was an amazing game. I am playing it every Saturday with some friends of mine and my boyfriend, and we're having a good time with it. I played it when it originally came out in the early 2000s. If he had a hand in that, at this point, just because you had a hand in one of my favorite video games doesn't mean I can trust anything you do. Look at what's happening to Dragon Age, and there were plenty of people involved in that are currently praising its direction. I was reading some articles on that, and I can't talk about it. It makes me mad. Well, maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow, because it makes me mad. I really don't like, and maybe it's just the fact I'm getting older. To some degree, maybe it's just I'm getting older and I don't like seeing things change. I'm sure that has something to do with it. But the fact is, I don't see the changes being for the better in general. The changes are to make people not have to think as much, and I don't ever understand how that's a good thing. I know people say they play video games to turn off their minds. I don't think that's ever really been true. I think that's been to activate a different part of your mind in a different way. So the part of your mind that's active every day, doing your regular problem solving, now gets to do it in a way that it finds fun and relaxing and has the stresses of everyday life removed from it. And that's part of what makes games in general, especially D&D, fun, because you can do these things that if you were anywhere near anything like that situation in real life, you would be stressed the hell out. But because it's just a game, because you're just having fun, and you can explore possibilities that you would never explore in reality. And that's part of what makes games and books and all of these things so important, is they allow humans the possibility to explore things that they couldn't otherwise, because reality sucks, because the extra stress doesn't let you do these things. I could get into a whole rant again about fairy tales and constructive fear for children and all these other things, but this is supposed to be a D&D video, so I won't. I'll get into that rant again. That's one that comes up a lot in my life lately, especially as I think about having kids. I want to make sure that I give them these experiences so that they learn young how to handle themselves, and they don't end up being these stress balls out in the world with no ability to handle it, because nobody gave them the strength, the courage, or the tools to do so in a safe environment when they were young. I went off on it anyway, sorry. Games are supposed to be fun, but they have a place in life in teaching, and that is still true even as we age. Even as we get older, and especially in some ways as we get older, because games help with neuroplasticity. They help our brains remain able to change and grow and think in new paths so that we don't get stuck in the way so many people have a tendency to do. It helps us fight to keep evolving. And the more they change these things to take those challenges and to take those challenges and that thought away, the worse it is for everybody. It's not just bad for us. It's not just boring, but it's bad for us. That's my random rant, guys. What do you think? Do you think this is going to change anything? Do you think this guy's going to bring in some kind of new wind and sweep through and help change everything for the better? Or do you think it's more of just the same, and he's just going to continue to turn D&D into a digital-only microtransaction mess? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.